Good morning. Basically, I wanted to make a video about how you go from taking pictures on an iPhone to a full DSLR. And I feel like there's definitely layers to it. So that's what I'm going to be telling you about. And I thought that, being underground would be a pretty good sort of environment for this type of video. No, it's not a perfect analogy, as we're diving deeper underwater and I'm just kind of going deeper underground. So it's not perfect, but it's at least something that I think would definitely help illustrate my point. As we go further down the levels of this chart, we are also going further underground. So at the very top of the iceberg lies casual photography, the simplest and most accessible form of capturing images. This involves taking pictures on a cell phone, typically of pets, friends, or family, without much thought beyond preserving that moment. Editing at this stage is minimal, often limited to built-in filters or basic adjustments through apps like Instagram. As curiosity grows, the first tier of photography begins to take shape. Camera modes such as portrait, panoramic, or even time-lapse start to be explored, allowing for more dynamic and creative shots. Small but meaningful steps are taken to improve composition, such as enabling the photo grid in the camera settings and learning fundamental techniques like the rule of thirds. While these adjustments elevate the quality of images, they remain relatively simple and accessible. At the deepest part of this first level, a beginner may begin experiencing with free apps such as Snapseed, making subtle tweaks like increasing brightness or adjusting contrast. These minor refinements help improve the overall look of the image without requiring advanced knowledge. However, despite these efforts, the results may still fall short of the desired level. The image, while improved, might lack the polish and depth seen in professional photography. This signals the need to move beyond casual photography and dive deeper into the next level. Just below the surface, stepping up the game at this stage, photography begins to evolve. Beyond simple snapshots, everything is being taken to the next level, with a deep focus on light, framing, and angles. Research becomes an essential part of the process, whether through watching YouTube tutorials, reading photography guides, or studying the work of more experienced photographers. With a better understanding of these fundamentals, the next step is learning how to control exposure manually. A simple but effective technique is tapping on the screen and dragging down the adjustment brighter, creating a more balanced and intentional image. As knowledge of how cameras work expands, so does the desire to enhance what a phone camera can do. This leads to accessorizing, experimenting with clip-on lenses to provide perspectives, using phone mounts to stabilize shots, or investing in basic tripods for steadier compositions. These small tools open up creative possibilities and allow for more polished results. With these improvements, free editing tools, while still useful, may start to feel limiting. At this point, transitioning to paid apps becomes a game changer. Software like the dreaded Adobe Lightroom, a widely used professional editing tool, provides more control over images. It allows for deeper adjustments such as fine-tuning, color tones, enhancing shadows, and even removing small distractions that might take away from the composition. These advanced editing techniques help refine the final image, making it stand out. After diving into these technical aspects, inspiration begins to come from photographers who are further along in their journeys. By studying their work, experimenting with different techniques, and continuously refining their own approach, a personal style starts to emerge. These images are an important turning point. Photography is no longer just about taking pictures. It is about storytelling, artistic expression, and creating something uniquely one's own. We are now down at level 3. The water gets colder at this stage. The photographer is beginning to push beyond the limits of their phone, realizing that to truly elevate their craft, more advanced equipment is needed. The water is definitely colder, signaling the deeper dive into the world of professional photography. Research intensifies, focusing on finding the best budget-friendly or entry-level DSLR, digital single lens reflex cameras. With the shift to DSLRs, a significant amount of control over settings such as aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, which is also known as the exposure triangle, becomes possible, offering new creative possibilities. This is where real money starts being spent on gear, making the commitment to photography as both a passion and an investment. As the gear improves, so does the approach to capturing images. Walks and hikes are no longer about just enjoying the scenery. They become purposeful outings, dedicated to photographing landscapes, interesting subjects, or moments of beauty. The photographer starts experimenting with different settings, like auto and other shooting modes. But full manual control remains out of reach for now. They're still learning, but the direction is clear. They want more control and want to get it right. Moving deeper into the iceberg, one major change is adopting RAW format for photos. Shooting in RAW allows for more data to be captured, preserving a higher level of detail and dynamic range, which is essential for precise and impactful editing. Editing now requires more than just small tweaks. The photographer begins to notice that subtle adjustments are no longer enough to create the result they want. This marks the transition to Photoshop, a powerful tool that opens up endless possibilities for advanced photo manipulation and refinement. One particular aspect of editing starts to demand more attention: sharpness. The sharpener slider in Photoshop becomes a focus as the desire to make every photo as crisp and clear as possible grows. This journey towards achieving ultimate sharpness, capturing every fine detail with precision, becomes a key goal. As sharpness improves, the quality of the image takes on new levels of refinement, signaling that the photographer is truly on the path to mastering their craft. With these new tools, the techniques in hand, the photographer is ready to dive deeper into their journey, knowing the next level awaits just beyond the horizon. Level 4, the base of the iceberg, pushing artistic and technical limits. The kit lens, budget-friendly primes, and entry-level zooms no longer meet the expectations. Images once deemed sharp now feel lacking. The pursuit of technical perfection grows more intense. More research is conducted, diving into every detail, understanding diffraction, refining focus techniques, and learning how to squeeze every bit of performance from both the gear and the personal skill. Each shot becomes a deliberate effort to maximize clarity, depth, and impact. With the pursuit comes more heavy investment. A new professional grade lens like the 100 to 400 millimeter USM Mark II is added to the kit, pushing boundaries and revealing details that were once unattainable. Soon after, the realization sets in that the camera body itself is the next limitation. An upgrade follows, perhaps a leap into mirrorless technology, drawn by the promises of improved dynamic range, faster autofocus, and cutting-edge innovation. The technical side of photography begins to feel second nature. Lighting, once a challenge, is now a tool welded with confidence, whether using strobes, continuous light, or shaping natural light to full advantage. The learning curve flattens, but the creative possibilities expand. A favorite genre starts to take shape, whether it's portraits, landscape, street, commercial work, or wildlife. A direction becomes clear, allowing for deeper expertise. With time, style develops, not just in technical execution, but in artistic expression. The work starts to stand out, gaining a voice of its own, something that differentiates it from the crowd. But digital files and online portfolios are no longer enough. The next step is making the work tangible, holding a high-quality print and seeing it framed, sharing it in a physical space. The need to turn passion into something more is undeniable. The thought of monetization and hopefully recovering those investments enters the picture. Selling fine art prints, offering portrait sessions, booking weddings, or taking on commercial jobs. The journey shifts from an unencompassing, simple creating for the sake of improvement to building something entirely encapsulating one's personal self and becomes sustainable, providing a craft that once pursued for passion alone can evolve into a thriving profession. The final level of this iceberg metaphor is the deep immersion of both artistic and technical knowledge of photography. Pushing boundaries to achieve full mastery can look like perfecting your signature style, or possibly even pioneering new techniques. At the base of the iceberg, personal style is distinct from others. A story is being told purely through composition. After getting overwhelmed with all that digital information and techniques, it can be sort of an escape to reach back into history and shoot pictures with a more simple act of using a film camera. Though it can get complicated in a hurry if you are trying to develop your own film, using a newer version of a film camera, like a Minolta Maximum 7000, can help ease that complicatedness. Underwater photography is a very specialized niche of photography that needs a lot of certain expensive equipment, both in airtight camera cases to bring mirrorless or DSLR cameras underwater to shallow depths. If the story is deeper than that, a sealed camera module, generally mounted to a crane or stabilizer, will be used, or a submersible sub itself with cameras. The final thing that will be touched on this iceberg video is making a living off of doing photojournalism. Being able to tell stories and convey emotions through photos. It is a combination between visual storytelling and composition. This is a skill on its own. If it can be done to the extent that it is done for a living, it is the lowest level on the iceberg. It is a profoundly tricky job. In other words, the lowest level of this iceberg is building a career on photography or video. Whether that is done between booking weddings consistently as a freelancer or joining a filmmaking crew. Both are equally valuable and just as tricky. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is my first video back in 2025. I have been a bit busy doing an apprenticeship. I'm about halfway done now. That took up an insane amount of my time. I also upgraded my car to a Chevy Silverado. and I'm currently building it to be a sort of camping wildlife rig. And I am currently out shooting with my Canon 90D and the 500mm f4.5. I'm working on a video of it right now, so that will be out soon. Just going over my first impression. I've had it for about a week or two so far, and I am really looking forward to using it more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.